Hello.
And welcome to the Shut Your Mouth.
Why are you so dramatic? Calm down. Welcome to Shut Your Mouth. I am Sam.
And I am Monica.
And thank you so much for tuning in. Before we start, we're watching the Funky Panther there on the background. We're going to give a shout out. And I know we don't give shout outs all the time on Shut Your Mouth, but you know, Javier always shows his love. Tim threw something nice out there, and just all the guys up there. I just want to thank y'all for always being supportive and saying nice things about your boy. But obviously,
it's really sweet.
When you talk about Shut Your Mouth, you're including me and Monica, and so I'm very thankful. And keep doing what you are doing.
I like the new setup. Like that you can see the blue.
Yeah, they changed the camera a little bit.
Yeah,
and the camera angle.
It looks good.
And so? And
they look so bright and vivid. Like their colors. But anyways, thank you for that nice comment. It was really sweet.
So how you doing?
Y'all should have seen Sam. He was jumping up and down.
Calm down, girl. I was falling asleep. I hardly woke up. No, I'm joking. I'm always very happy whenever I get support, you know, because I feel like in everyone's journey, whether it be creative or business or whatever, the journey, the support from your friends and family is in the beginning. Yeah. And if you continue to grow and continue to reach a lot of people, then the support starts to change. You know what I mean? And you kind of forget who was there in the beginning. And sometimes I'm a bit critical about, you know, maybe not enough people in my circle or family or whatever being supportive. Yeah. But I've come to terms with it, and I don't have a list of who has and who hasn't. But when someone is, it definitely brings a smile to my face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I could tell. You're smiling pretty big there. I thought, you know, you're going to start crying. Anyways, welcome to the Shut Your Mouth. How was your day?
We're going to do that?
Yeah.
You go first. How was your day?
No, sir. I asked the question first.
Okay, my day was fine.
Oh, talk more. Or what do you say? Say more.
No, I say less.
No, not on the pod. You never say less on the pod, Sam.
Why are you being mean?
I am not being mean.
I'm not being calm down.
I'm not being mean.
Okay, because I'm being very nice. I'm gonna make this very awkward for you. I'm gonna put some pressure on.
Oh my gosh, Sam, just shut your mouth.
No, my day was fine. You know, just handle some business. I shot a coffee break. I gotta edit it and work on it. I thought it was good. I never know until I put it out there. I feel like they're all timely. I feel like it's something that sits or resonates with me, whether I read about it or hear about it. And then I just put it out there, and hopefully it helps someone just like it helped me. Yeah, it's a bit cold here in Texas, but it's okay. We'll have plenty of time to complain in the summer about how hot it is.
Yeah, and the AC's not working. No, but I like your coffee breaks on the Phil podcast.
Thank you.
They're really great. I think I also enjoy the length of it.
Yeah.
Because I can...
Don't mind the noise. That's just my ice maker.
I can enjoy it in between, you know...
During a coffee break.
During a coffee break. Well, I was going to say like a planning period or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, eating lunch or...
Absolutely.
While the kids are napping. But yeah.
How was your day?
My day was very eventful. So we had school today, even though we didn't have water in our building. And so we had to keep taking the kids to another area of the school to go potty and wash their hands. Yeah. And that was very eventful. You know, the heater was working, but not really. But it was good. Overall, it was good, you know. tomorrow's hump day. So that's exciting. Because then after that, it's just 2 more days of the week, and then this week's over. So we're learning a lot this week of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's amazing to think, like, Sam, do you ever stop and think, like, man, I hope my legacy lives on for decades and decades?
You know what? Martin Luther King Day just passed, and great movement, great civil rights leader. I can't say enough. And so I had to say that before I answer, do I wish that my legacy could live on forever? That's a great question. Before I answer that, can I be annoying?
Mm-hmm.
Or you
don't? You already are. I'm just kidding.
Look, okay, here's the thing. There is deep and profound questions that...
I knew you were going to take it this way. I mean,
go ahead, finish my thought.
That's why I gave it to you.
I was just going to clarify something.
I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he went through that. Like, that wasn't why I said it so lightly.
No.
I was just looking at the topic of how people are so hungry to be influential.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably zero hungry to be influential. He was just fighting something to make things right.
Yeah.
To have the same things that other people had. And so in this day and era, it's different.
Yeah.
Than what they went through. And do I wish that upon anyone? Absolutely not.
So what was the question again?
The question was just simply like, do you ever wonder or do you ever think like, I hope my legacy lives for decades and decades?
Here's how I would answer it, and hopefully this is helpful for people listening, and that is that his moment confronted another moment that was just as big. Like you needed a something big to be a part of, to be a catalyst and meet right in the middle. And then that makes history, and it makes basically history, but a legacy as well. And so, yes, I hope that my legacy lives on, but I don't know what I'm going to have to confront to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe that my social media, my podcast has purpose and meaning. Do I think it's enough to do that, to make that, that moment that will really make a legacy? Because people think legacy is like work hard and be rich and put your name on buildings, which is important, which is part of it. But to me, it's a lot bigger. It's a moment in time that the moment is big, and it requires a person made for that moment to confront it. And when you look at the real legacies, right, that don't have to do necessarily with money, but they have to do with events and changing directions or mindsets. Yes, I feel like I'm ready if something were to come up for me to take that, that big step and maybe leave a legacy. But yeah, I hope people remember my name for what I'm doing. But that's a hard question. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I think about and obviously entertain me with your thought here, but hard questions, they require thought. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if your brain isn't working out in deep thinking in conversation, a question like that can be...
So if your brain is dumb, don't think big questions. Is that what you're saying?
No.
If you're not smart enough, don't ask them questions.
That's not what I'm saying, but that's what it sounds like. No, what I'm saying is that there is some questions that are worth thinking deeply about. And that was a great question.
Wait a minute. Are you giving me a compliment?
Girl, don't make people think that I don't.
That's so sweet, Sam. Here, touch my hand. Aw, that's so sweet.
I touch your hand.
Aw, you take a picture?
I take a picture.
Oh, Ignacio.
Hey, what are... stop. I don't want to go down. Tell me some things that you really enjoy about me and you. God, Are you gonna really everything? Is that? I don't want you to become this laughing at everything whenever we're.
That was pretty funny because it was like the question with your little face.
Okay.
What did Javier call you, Snuggly Bear? Oh, I think I like our conversations.
Explain.
Explain.
I'll tell you why I'm asking you this in a minute.
I like our conversations sometimes because your voice is just so nice. It puts me to sleep. Like Frasier with the baby in the new. You gotta say something about Frasier. Okay, guys. So if y'all don't know something about Sam, he always watches like a TV series or a movie or something, and he's always like the main character that does like the most amazing job. So Sam growing up thought he was Frasier. He was a Mexican version of Frasier. I think it's so funny. And so there's a new a new show, right? Where it's Frasier and his son. And there's this one episode where they're like, your voice, it puts me to sleep. And he's like, no, don't tell me that. And he's like holding the baby, and the baby falls asleep because he's talking to him. It's so funny. Anyways, I just thought it was funny because we watched something and then Sam's like, I'm that guy. That's me. And I'm like, of course. It's always the world changer, the most best communicator.
Okay, this is like some support hate right here.
Support hate.
Yeah, I'm not really liking the shade you're...
Hey, I'm your wife, so it's okay. I get a pass. Right? If not, just say it.
You get a pass.
Okay.
You were in the middle of something before you got sidetracked. I'm just trying to hold you to what you were...
Oh, what did I say?
Exactly.
I forgot.
I'm asking.
Oh, you're asking.
What it is, and don't answer because you chose to go down the Frasier trail for a second, and I can touch on that a little bit more, but what is it that you enjoy about our relationship? And you said when we have our conversations and sleeping, whatever, listening to me, whatever.
I think you make my life easier.
Well, let me finish my thought now.
In some areas.
Yeah.
Okay, finish your thought.
And so, here's the sad thing that I've seen lately, and I'm an observer of people, and so I have seen a lot of people's relationships go through, tough times, and I wonder. And obviously, there's so many things that can cause those tough times to happen. Right? Especially if you study relationships and love and family and it all has its place and purpose. But there's certain things, there's certain people that I've heard about. You look totally bored.
No, I'm listening.
That as I observe, one of the main things that they struggle, and I think this is the fuel to a good relationship, okay, friends, marriage, you name whatever, is great communication. But it does take effort, and it is not easy. And you said it's one of the things you enjoy. So give me some things that you've learned, or maybe you're the one who brought. I'm not saying that it's me. If it's you, then tell me, and then let's go down that route about, bringing that aspect to the relationship, and then continuing to develop it within the relationship.
So. I should have said something easier, like, I like your hugs. I used all my brain at work, Sam.
Well, hugs ain't enough.
So I think I love our conversations because you're definitely a problem solver. And that's like your strength and your weakness at the same time. Because at the same time that you're a problem solver, you're a problem starter. Okay? But you're a problem solver because I'll say something like, babe, this is not working, blah, 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 I don't know what to do. And then you go into this whole conversation about, like...
Is it annoying?
No, I'm like, where do you get all this information? Like, that's what I'm thinking, right? In my head, like, where do you get all this information from? But then I love it because then I go to work the next day and I'm like, hey, guess what I learned? Da, 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 da. And they're like, what? I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah. And I felt really intelligent, right?
Yeah.
But then I come home the next day and you did something to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy that. You definitely make my life easier. Like, for example, you always set up my car. Like, when we first, when we transition cars, this car didn't have a lot of the things the other car did, but then this car had a lot of things that the other car didn't have. Mm-hmm. And so then you made me, like, feel like this car was perfect because you brought some of the things that the other car had that I enjoyed. Yeah. You brought it into this car, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. Or like when you fixed our doors for the cabinets and stuff so they don't slam, you put certain little things on it. I don't know, I just feel like you're a good listener, and it's hard. I think the reason why people can't have good communication is because it's not just about talking, it's actually about listening. Not just hearing, because you can hear it, but it's actually listening. And I think you do a good job listening when it's to your convenience. I'm just kidding.
No, so I feel like communication is so important. There's some issues with communication, and that is like when someone thinks they're always right, mm-hmm. and whenever somebody dominates the conversation. Mm-hmm. That can be an unhealthy aspect of communication.
Now, some people might see you and feel like you dominate the conversation.
Let me explain.
But can I explain
Please.
First? I think it feels that way because you don't like dead time in a conversation, because you're such an introvert that you're like, okay, I'm leaving it cut off, right? Mm-hmm. So I think you over communicate so that there's no dead time, or if not, your brain automatically goes into reserve.
Yeah, I can feel when someone isn't bringing something to the conversation, to the relay race, to the conversation. Mm-hmm. And so let's just say I have like 3 or 4 points to the point, and 1 and 2 isn't work. Like, I don't see the little light bulb turn on top mm-hmm. of their head, and it's just like a body language thing. Then I'll continue to explain deeper, or if not, sometimes I have to explain simpler to activate the individual, and then you can just tell when someone's ready to go, mm-hmm. Because I never want to force someone to jump in whenever they're not ready. Mm-hmm. And so but people who dominate a conversation can be, and you just said I do that sometimes, so I'm aware that I can come across as annoying, but these people can come across as annoying, mm-hmm. and it's not healthy for a relationship. Mm-hmm. For friendship, it's not healthy to be dominant. So I have a clip that I want to play. Okay.
You have a clip that you want to play?
Girl, I don't take a picture. I look horrible. Okay. And so
say cheese.
Cheese. I need you to listen, okay?
Okay.
And this
you
guy,
take me a picture.
This guy, okay, just hold on.
Okay,
this guy's absolutely amazing at explaining and mm-hmm. giving you solutions for things. This is entitled, and I'm gonna give you his hashtag in a minute for his Instagram. How to handle people who dominate conversations. Okay. Wait, give me 1 or 2 things that you can do to handle a person that dominates conversation.
Let me see. Walk away. Boom. Roll your eyes.
And you know that.
Say, "Oh, I gotta go potty."
Yeah. And then as soon as you finish, you come back and they're going 100 miles an hour.
And then you go somewhere else. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
So I'm gonna play this and then give me your thoughts. Okay, so you're gonna have to listen.
When a person starts to dominate or monopolize a conversation, it's no longer a conversation, but a monologue. And I didn't buy a ticket to hear it. So what I'll do is number 1, interrupt them. I know that doesn't sound like me, but this is one of the few exceptions where interrupting is a must, because if they're not going to value your time, it's your job to protect it. Here, all you got to do is just use their name. Names always work. I don't wait for a break in the conversation. None of that. You start low and then go high. For example, hey David, that doesn't work. Go a little higher. Hey David, you keep going until you get their attention. Number 2, once we've stopped them, we're going to filter and pass. By filtering, we just interpret what they said for them. For example, I hear you saying that you don't like the budget cuts from last week. I totally get that. Then we're going to pass it. I like to hear what Megan has to say about this. Or, in my opinion, the budget cuts were X, Y, and Z. And number 3, if they're still wanting to dominate the conversation, then you got to put a time limit on it. What I'll say is something like, hey, David, I got like 2 minutes, and then I got to bounce and knock some stuff out. Whatever time you give, you have to stick to it. And that's how you deal with somebody who's dominating the conversation. So try that. Follow me.
This
people who dominate conversations.
This guy is absolutely amazing. Let me give him a plug. It is at Jefferson_Fisher. He's got 3.9 million followers. He's helping a lot of people. What's a takeaway from that? Because, and I only bring this up because I have heard you share instances when someone is super dominant of a conversation that you even tell me, why did I even bother entertaining the conversation? It's such a waste of time. It's such a sign of disrespect.
Yeah. Well, I like that he says the interrupt part because I would just stand there. Like, because in my head I'm thinking, I'm not going to interrupt them. That is so rude.
Monica?
Like, yeah. Just like that. Like, I can't do that.
Monica?
Okay. And then the second other thing that I like.
I only have 1 more minute.
Oh, okay.
So please, no, I'm joking. I was just testing it on you. Like, you know what I mean? Continue.
You're confusing me. Oh, I'm just kidding. No, you really were. The other thing that I liked or that I took away was the name. That's pretty good. I like that.
Give me an instance.
Sam. Sam. Yeah. Like that. But you stopped talking. I like that. I like using the name. That's pretty good. Give you an instance of what?
Tell me some of the feelings you've had when you've experienced someone who's dominated a conversation. What does it make you feel like? Just do the podcasting thing.
Okay, so one of the feelings whenever someone dominates a conversation is totally boredom. Like, I'm thinking, okay, what am I gonna have for lunch? And then, oh man, that sounds really good. And then the second thing, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have zoned out. I do not even know what this person last said. How am I gonna connect the dots so that I can show them that I was listening? And so then it turns into fear. Like,
how have you shown these individuals that you're not happy with the conversation at hand?
I don't know. I think they could see it in my face that I'm just like,
Yeah.
Cause I got that Latina in me.
What does that mean?
I try to hide my emotions, but they're like right on my sleeve.
Latinas are known not to hide their feelings well.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You got the okay.
I got that Latina in me, so I show it.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
What advice would you give to someone that came to you and said, I dominate conversations and I need to stop because I am not that interesting?
I'd be like, shut your mouth.
What would you tell them?
That's what I would tell them.
I had an idea once.
That was supposed to be funny, Sam.
I know. But I'm still trying to...
Okay,
so I had this idea once. When you play chess, there's a timer to pass the game to the other individual, and you click it, and it's the other guy's turn, and you click it. I felt like there should be an app that shows the time when one is talking, and you just gently tap the screen. And at the end, if you're with that individual for 1 hour, they talk for 45 minutes and you talk for 15, it's off balance. And I think that in a conversation, there always needs to be balance, but it's hard to find it without a timer.
Yeah.
Tell me some of the extreme unbalanced conversations that you've had. Like, I sat with someone for 2 hours and they talked for an hour and 45 minutes and all you had was like 15 minutes to talk and share?
I
And
guess
after this, I'm closing this segment and I'm not talking anymore.
I guess when they're happy about something, you know, or excited about something, and that's all they spend their time talking about.
Yeah.
Like they're not even interested in like, how's your life doing?
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, that's as fast as that thing has made ice ever.
I know, on purpose.
But please don't. I just go ahead.
Yeah, I think I forgot the question.
It's okay. Let's just close that segment and let's just try to have a conversation.
Oh, you said about unhealthy, right? Balance. So yeah, when they're super excited about something. But another unbalanced conversation is when someone is sharing something that doesn't pique their interest. And so like you're like, okay, well, how can I, like the other person is just sharing and they don't give you room to like ask questions like, so how did that make you feel? Or why is that your favorite food? You know, and they're just going on and on and on and on and on. And then they never invite you over to have some.
Yeah.
Like, that's just rude. But anyways, yeah. I think so. So, is it my turn?
I don't.
Here's the thing about your little timer thing. That wouldn't work. People would not do that.
Well, it's not necessarily that it will work to fix anything, but I can have it on when you're not looking, and I can time it. And then if I approach that friend and say, look, we're good friends, I want to keep hanging out with you, but look at the past 3 conversations that I've recorded with this app. You are dominating our talks. You don't care what I'm doing. You don't care about my opinions or thoughts or insights. I don't play that. You know what I mean? At least you have some data.
But you know what? People would not take that well. Or maybe it's just the people I'm around. Like, I don't think they would take that well.
They wouldn't, because they're oblivious to what they're doing. Because they think that they're the center of attention, and I don't think that's right. Whenever you're trying to establish, like we did in the beginning, that me and you have a good relationship and it's based on conversation. And although I am a dominant conversationalist, I believe that I bring great balance to our relationship, because I'm also, you're going to laugh, but I'm being serious. I'm a professional question asker.
Is that a true thing?
It is for me.
I don't know. You're so handsome. So, I read something the other day. Okay? It says the only thing you can do about awful people, okay? Awful people, is to not be one of them. How does that statement make you feel?
No. Don't pass it to me, because then I'm going to drive this conversation.
Are you telling me what to do? I just want to know how that statement makes you feel. It can be one word.
True.
Okay. Well, I read it and it just like it blew my mind away, because like it's funny how we can like see a person and think, oh, that person's awful, and then we turn around and we're the same person, but to other people. I feel like if you know there's an awful person, maybe, just maybe, I could be totally wrong. This is a very premature thought, but maybe it also speaks a little bit about you. Like maybe you're cultivating that same character, you know? Maybe that person's being a mirror and it's showing also a little bit of your flaws. Like, I don't know. Like if there's a person around you that's so negative, like, oh my gosh, that person is just always so negative. And then you record your conversations from that point forward. And then it might surprise you. You might be a little negative. More than you thought. So it's hard. It's hard not to be an awful person. It is. It's hard because you know what? you're surrounded by people that some people might think something is awful, some people might think it's okay. Like, some people might love being negative. Some people might think that overly positive people are annoying. I got told once, oh my gosh, Monica, you just don't get it. And I'm like, what? What do I not get? And guess what he said? You were there. He said, you're just so positive of everything. That's not how life is. And I'm like, what? That is totally how life is. Like, what's the point if I already see and feel myself so sad or so beat down? What's the point of just speaking about it?
This, you know what this makes me think? This makes me think that someone isn't secure in who they are. That all they're doing is emulating behavior that's above them. And this is one of the hardest things that individuals have to deal with. For instance, there was once a story of somebody who was forgiven for a bunch of acres, a bunch of cattle, and a bunch of goats. And he was never going to be able to pay. He needed like 25, 30 lifetimes to pay it back. So he appealed his case to the king, and the king said, you know what? I forgive you. Go on about your business. Right? Mm-hmm. And so he did. He went back to his little life at his little farm and so on. And someone owed him, I forget, don't quote me on the specifics, but let's just say someone owed him $100. And he took everything from this guy and did not allow him the grace that the other person showed him. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can't. This guy chose to be ugly after someone was nice to him. Mm-hmm. So that was part of his character. Now that's one aspect of it that I see from human behavior. The other aspect is that there's people who are treated poorly at their work. They're abused, they're yelled at, they're treated like nothing. And then they wait to get home, and then they treat a weaker sibling, maybe their spouse, I don't know. And then they become that ugly person to them. Mm-hmm. So then they're taken out because they don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's just two stories that I know that do kind of show that. And you have to ask yourself, which one are you? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Are you truly ugly, or are you funneling someone else's ugliness through you into someone that is weaker and, subservient to you? Both of them are ugly. Mm-hmm. But they do show themselves.
It's just crazy because I just felt like I never want to be an awful person to someone. I want every chance I get to spend time with people, I want them to leave like in peace. I want them to leave with joy. I want them to leave, happy. I want them to leave like, man, that was a good hour that I spent in my life. Not like, what the heck did I do?
But how do you behave when someone's awful to you? Do you feel like just because you're putting positivity out that you deserve people to treat you the same way that you are to others? Do you feel entitled that someone can't be ugly to you?
Well, maybe not well, maybe that's the word, entitled, but maybe I feel like, what? Why? Yeah. Like, that's not what I'm doing. Why are you being so mean, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I don't deserve it. I don't, but it's crazy because I met a person once, and I will never forget what this person told me. This person told me, you're not nice like everyone says. Mm. And that really hurt me because I pride myself in trying to be nice and like positive and a blessing to people. And then like a few years later, I married the guy.
God, I didn't think you were going to put it out there like that.
Why did you say that?
Because I know that people's outward performance has cracks in it. And I just want people, sometimes truth that just simply exists needs to be said just so that they're humble, so that there's room for you to come into their perfect little world. That's necessary, because I'm highly flawed. You know what I mean? Like I can be.
So you felt intimidated by me because I was so nice?
No,
Oh.
I needed you to not see yourself as nice, so you could allow me some room to come in and run some game, girl.
Because you were so mean.
Because there's some
Because you were
stuff
so rough.
rough around the edges.
But I was in love with you. I was in love with your heart.
I understand.
And I was in love with your dream too.
What was
Shared your dreams then.
What was the quote?
Seriously?
I'm just curious. I'm trying to connect
The
it.
only thing you can do about awful people is not be one of them.
And so that's where I said what I said, and then I ran some game, girl. Here we are, in love, and the rest is history. It's because I wasn't being an ugly person. I was just being me. Would you agree, knowing me now? Like, yeah, of course that was Sam. He was being Sam. He wasn't being an ugly person. And I think you saw that.
I don't know. I think he was being a little ugly. You made me cry. I cried all the way home. And I'm not gonna put her out there, but I called someone and said, "Can you believe Sam just said I'm not a nice person?" She was like, "Leave him, girl. Just leave him. Leave him. Do not talk to him again."
Why are you airing out so much stuff? Don't say it. Just lip the name. Do you feel satisfied with your topic?
I think so.
Okay, I want to finish with something, and then we'll just see where it goes, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay. So, and see, I just feel like this is gonna trigger something. Okay, stop chasing people who don't care about you.
Dang. That's...
Yes or no? Have you done that?
Yes.
Yes or no? Do you continue to do that?
Yes.
I believe a lot of people do that because they're after something. They're either I don't know what it does. Okay. Here we go. Here's the first thought, and this is from my one and only guy. There's a guy I follow, the Chris Doe. All right. In my life, I found that it's better to have. You ready? A small following. How do you feel about that?
It's so hard.
People are after big followings right now.
Yeah, it's so hard because I like the idea of like having a lot of friends. Okay, this is gonna be totally weird, and it's probably gonna go totally dark. Okay,
But stay in the one line.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So bring me back if I veer off.
Okay, go.
So I always, you know how I am about like death and stuff, and I always think like my mission is for my funeral to be like jam packed.
Yeah.
Right. And I just feel like that speaks a lot of a person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, their funeral was so packed. And so I've always had it in my head, like, you know, I make connections with people. I make relationship with people because I think of that. Ain't that crazy? I think of like, you know, I want this person in my life forever. And I think that's my problem, that I chase people because I want them in my life forever when they're supposed to just be in my life for like a moment, and I want them to be in my life forever.
So let me give this little bit just to make a solid point. Okay, and so with all due respect, I'm going to bring your dad up in his funeral.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of try to bring me up even though I'm here, right? And I don't necessarily think about you as far as when I pass away and what I want it to look like, but I can think along those lines, okay?
Okay.
I am podcasting. I'm trying to be influential. In my head, I'm impacting a lot of people. There's a chance that there's no deep connections. That whenever I pass away, my funeral might not be that packed. But your dad's funeral, there was so many people. So many people. You have no idea. And he didn't have a podcast. He didn't talk about leadership, right? He didn't go out and serve the homeless and do this and do that and do everything that makes me who I am. You understand? Like, he didn't even talk English. I mean, he had, he had his way of talking English, but he does not compare to how I see me.
Yeah.
But man, if my day comes and I have half of the people your dad had, I would say I lived a good life.
Damn.
I wouldn't even want to disrespect him by saying, I'm going to have more people than your dad.
Yeah.
And your dad had a lot of people. But he interacted with people in his own way, and he made an impact. Yeah. And it is not the way that I'm thinking.
Dang, that's
you know what I'm saying? So you want a lot of people there, and I believe at the end, the people that show up are not even the people that you intended to impact, so they can show up at your funeral. It was the ones that you without trying, you gave them something. Those are the ones that show up simply to say thank you. That's it. Like, it's that simple, and we complicate it.
That's pretty good.
So whenever you...
And Dad's circle was really small.
Small.
Like, super, super, super small.
So how many of y'all want to stop chasing people that don't care about you, right? And obviously the key is to have a small following. Why is the question? Here's the answer. To be 100% yourself. The less you have to stretch yourself with people, with a lot of people, the more honest that you can be. But an honest person with a small portion of people can be honest with a lot. But if you are a liar with a small portion, you will become an extreme liar with a big group. That's a side point. But having a small following, chasing people, or being in people's life who want you in their lives, is great. You can be 100% yourself. Do you feel like you're 100% yourself with the people that you really like, that you are chasing each other equally?
Yeah, there's a handful that I feel like I'm 100% myself. Like, I think I'm getting better at setting boundaries, and I'm getting better at starting. I'm not saying I have mastered it, but starting to not chase people, which has made me feel very happy with the people that I do have, and it's exciting because it leaves me energy for the new people I might meet.
Yeah. So spending time worrying about people who don't care about you. And we've all been there. We have done that. Here's what it does. It will leave you creatively and emotionally bankrupt. These people do not care what makes you and how you are emotionally or your mood. That you will constantly have to be draining yourself.
Yeah.
I suggest showing up for those that show up for you. And I don't know who this is for, but I think I just made a lot of people's true circle the ring of trust. The size that it should be. And I think that we all needed to hear that. I don't know. I just felt like sharing that.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. That's
and
good.
This quote is from Chris Do, and it says this: just do you.
Just do you.
Because no one else will do.
Because no one else will.
That's it.
That's it.
That's what I got. Give me a final thought or whatever you would like to say before I close this episode down.
All right. Final thought. Be you. Because people will enjoy that better than the fake version of you.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say thank you for doing today. I saw you very distracted today.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it? I felt like you were
No, I'm just really exhausted.
That could be a symptom of distress. I could see it. I didn't want to necessarily say that, but
Sam, I fell asleep.
not during the pod. Everyone listening, it was before. But
Yeah.
anyway, I didn't want to get deep in it.
I'm just
wanted
saying I was exhausted today. It was a long day, so I'm sorry, but I thought I was very present.
Yeah.
In
No,
the pod.
I just pointed it out because this is
Shut
a pod
your
about
mouth.
conversation, and people will not point out things because they're afraid of what you're doing, like looking at, and I'm kind of regretting saying, but I just do it because I want to get your honest reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll show y'all maybe I'll show y'all the look that she gave me. It's the look of death.
That is not the look of death.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today to another episode of the Shut Your Mouth. I hope that there was some good takeaways. Me and Monica were just kind of going back and forth on a few things.
Yep.
And sometimes, guess what? You are going to be tired. Your brain is going to be capped out. And, it is difficult to
You still got to choose to show up.
Yeah. Because if the mics weren't on, me and you still have to have conversations.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for today.
Thank you, son.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Shut Your Mouth and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We appreciate all the likes and listens and the follows.
There we go. Thank y'all so
you
much.
so much.
And we'll see y'all on the next one. That's the ice maker, man. The ice maker was the third mic today. Y'all be good.